Hello, everybody. Can you hear me? Are there people out there? Say something. Howdy. Is there anybody there? Well, I'll just relax for a minute while everybody piles in. Mr. Timbersurf. Hey, up. And Mark. Hello. How are you? We're back in the shed again. Still pretty cold down here, but I got my heater, so it's all good. I'm probably still in 410p or whatever it is, but try not let that put us off too much. What have we got today? Right, we've got Bachmann class 25 experiment and going around the other way. Come on, my dear. Hornby. Oh, I said it. Yes, square 480p. Interesting. There's a bit of a squeak on one of these. Don't know why, but I'll have to sort that out. Yeah, Hornby Crusty 9F. Crusty. Heavily weathered. So how is everybody? Hope you're well. Okay, Timbersurf. Right. How would I go about getting it up to something like 720 from 480? Obviously not now, but I will sort of work on it. Now that is that roughly where the webcam is set? Is that set in YouTube Studio somewhere? Yeah, but where? I could probably get my son to work on that. He's pretty clued up on these sort of things. Must be in my settings, yeah. All right, forgive me a second. I have a suitable beverage. Now, looking at my screen, that's yeah, Station Master. Yeah, right. Yes, of course, Mr. Timbersurf. Yeah, the elusive Pimpernel. Unless the camera is at max. I do live, so I'm not sure. Unless the camera is at max. Well, it could be, but that'll be inside the software of the machine somewhere. Pimpernel, yeah. Yeah, not Scarlet though. If you were a colour Timbersurf, what would you be? Obviously not Scarlet. The Black Pimpernel, the Black Fingernail, perhaps. I think we're bordering on Sid James there. Check the specs of the camera. Well, that's the one that's attached to the laptop. So, yeah, gold. Gold's Timbersurf. Yeah, the gold Pimpernel. Yeah, yeah, that could catch on. I can see that. Still won't make you any easier to spot at model railway exhibitions, though. Unless you'd be in a cloak. BRB. British Rail Black. British Rail Blue. Or am I just not seeing the acronym properly? Come on, Mark, you're going to have to clue me in there. Oh, look, coal wagons. So do exist. Yeah. Yeah, you obviously exist, but in which dimension? There we go. That's a real mix-up. Bit of China clay stuff there, which I do enjoy actually. Funny enough, I've never seen one of those China clay bullets in Cornwall ever. Um, Lots of other style of tanker type wagons and slurry wagons, but I've never seen one of those bullets in Cornwall. I've never even seen them on the way to Cornwall. They seem to exist somewhere up the country. I like. I like. Once again, all DC today. Am I in Cornwall? No, no, I'm in Hertfordshire. Uh, so, but used to have quite a few holidays in Cornwall. Still do occasionally, and that was where I used to see a lot of the China clay traffic around Foy and Parr. Hello, Sean. I gather your layout's going okay. I haven't caught up with your last one that you done, but I will. I've never been to the southwest. Excuse me. It's almost like Robert's train sitting here with a cup of coffee in my case. Never been to the southwest. Well, that would be a treat. Yeah, do it in some decent weather though. But yeah, Cornwall, Devon, yeah, pretty spectacular. Particularly if you like surfing and that kind of stuff. Worked in Weymouth. Okay, not been further west. Okay, well, Weymouth Dorset. Oh, been making wooden fencing. Well, fiddly. Yes, I've done some of that. Well, it was a similar kind of fencing that I think Lee was working on. So you've got these little wooden uprights with holes in, and you've got wires that go between the uprights, which yeah, it's not for the faint-hearted, and they're quite brittle. I'm looking at them now on the other side of the layout. Ugh. Brenton Junction, hello. Think of that. I'll design them and print them. Yeah, yeah. Um, I suppose if you wanted to get a sort of chromy effect of a brand new fence, that would be ideal. But you'd have to. Hello, Dwight Curley. You'd have to weather them a bit with something. Even a wash would do it because they come out like a bright chrome. The the actual fencing. I suppose that's what they use. Some kind of chromed copper wire. I would have said. It's a bit like stripping telephone wire and finding out what's in there, which is in effect a treated copper wire. Ah, how's Mr. Curly today? Use brown ink to stain the wood. Well, the wood is a woody colour. If you wanted them to be concrete, then you could grey them before you actually started building the thing. But I did snap quite a few of them, just inserting them into the board. I drilled a hole, which I thought was right, just enough to get an interference fit. But even then, as careful as you might be, they still snap occasionally. Anfield Road, hello Lee. Now Lee, are you going live today? Jim Tedesco, hi Jim. Nice to see you here. For those that have joined us a little later, coming up on my right, uh, class 25 in RTC colours. That's Timber. What does RTC stand for? And coming this way, the trusty old 9F with a rake of coal wagons. and various, strangely enough, China clay wagons, just 5 planks, 7 planks, and the British Rail grey towed brake van on the back. RTC. Yeah, research. Oh, aided brain grinds exceeding Schlor. RTC, Research Training Centre. Show us your layout, hot dog. Yeah, will. Right, give me a minute. Put my coffee down. Okay. Right, let's have a quick spin about. I hope I don't lose you. Right, you've got yonder up there end. Moving around to the station, which is over yonder. Moving swiftly around with all the paraphernalia on the wall. Over to the depot. Over to yonder side. And I'll just swing around the other way there because I'm running out of lead on my laptop. It's not the easiest thing to do. There we go. So that's about from where we were before. Bit of Union Pacific paraphernalia up there, bit of Southern Pacific up there. You've got to have it. You've got to have it. There's the door. Warning, limited clearance. Yeah. There's a couple of sort of signal type signs that we have on our signals over here. And we're almost back to where we started. So just over there, that's sort of the marshalling yard. Right. Let's pop it back down. That's as good as I can do without a remote camera, I'm afraid. If I stay live, it's fine. Oh, okay. Well, I'll go on for a little while and then I'll pop off and do my own thing, as they say. Should have a sign on the layout, limited clearance, 36 inches. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Cool layout, thank you. Oh, right. Very nice of you. Thank you, old chap. Yeah, it's what would you term it? Compact and bijou. Yeah, it's sort of 8 foot by 12 foot. I suppose the shed is 8 foot by 12 foot, so it's probably something like 11 foot 10 or something like that. Charlie McGowan's Partick Hills Station. Hello, how are you? You may have missed the live production. Well, I wouldn't say it was a production. It's sort of an organised mess, but there you go. Quality is more important than size. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can go along with that. 812 in California. That's what amazes me. Yeah, here I am sitting in a shed in Hertfordshire in England. There's people tuning in on a completely different time zone, on a completely different continent. So yeah, it's a bit mind blowing. 8:12. So yeah, that's pretty early, Charlie. What's the weather like there? 11:15 in Florida. Okay. So what would it be in Ohio then? Because Ohio's somewhere in between. I would imagine that's on Eastern Standard Time. Maybe. You'd have to tell me that. Because I know America's so big. 10:15? 10:15. Okay, that's pretty early. So we probably haven't managed to get Mr. Dodge out of bed yet. Perhaps he's having a lay in. It is Sunday after all. Uh, there's not much in the news apart from what Hornby are doing. And I don't particularly want to discuss them. When they do get it right, they can produce things like this, which is a great model. And they put it in their cheapo range, and it's a brilliant model. You know, what on earth the criteria is for putting that in the cheap range, I really don't know. Weather's improving and very pleasant. Dig on the beach. Dig on the beach and watch the train go by. Well, that sounds very much like a place there is in Devon, where you can sit on the beach and watch all the Great Western stuff go past. Dawlish, Dawlish, where they had there was a terrible set of storms. It said I just had a message come up which says my live stream is unstable, like everything else. Can somebody just? That's okay. No much for it. Snow, snow. Illinois, snow in Illinois. Uh, Now Illinois is fairly. It's not central. It's a little above central. I'm going to have to get a map here of the USA. I'm going to get one of Australia as well, somewhere up there on the wall. So at a glance, I can just have a quick check. One with time zones on it would be good as well, so you can tell roughly what time it is, plus or minus. The Australians are ahead of us by roughly about 12 hours. And what happens? Well, we're sort of 5 o'clock in the afternoon now. Maybe. Hang on. Let's check the time. I can check it on the computer. 4:15 in the afternoon. I don't know what my clock's reading up there. I think the cold must be affecting it. Uh, Hard for us bits to remember where all the states are. Yeah, yeah, I can sort of visualize some. You've got Texas right down the south, and southeast you've got like Miami, places like that. Northeast you've got New York, and then going right up to Canada. I know Toledo's on one of the Great Lakes. Uh, it's the mid part that's a bit confusing. Um, from sort of Arkansas around there, obviously up to Ohio, and then somewhere in there you've got Chicago. Chicago, that's Illinois, correct? A lot of Americans have the same problem. Yeah, yeah. The trouble is, it's a global pastime, so everybody's got their time zone, their space. Yeah, it's hard to get your head round. Toronto sits on Lake Ontario. Now, I have been to Toronto. Yes, cannot remember the positions of the counties in the UK. I had to look back there a bit. Yes, that's true. Hertfordshire, where I live, is just north of London. So you've got this big chunk, which is London, and then there's a whole host of different counties going around it. So yeah, it's tough. Geography is a tough subject to remember. It's used infrequently. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it only sort of comes to mind every time you do a live stream, and there's lots of guest stars. Boilermaker Rick, hello. How are you? Nice to see you. Is there any news on the plumber? I know he had a operation. Doing fair. Up, that's good. That's good. You see, our prayers are answered. So, yeah, it's nice to see we've connected to God. Yeah, he must be listening after all. Perhaps he's tuned in. Perhaps he'd like to partake. No, no, no writing. Oh, coffee again. So you're doing fences, Sean. Oh, haven't heard from the plumber today. Well, he's probably a bit sore. Um, last time I was in hospital, I was in there at the pleasure of the National Health Service for 4 days. It was a strangulated hernia, which wasn't a pleasant experience. I wouldn't recommend it. There was tubes coming out of all over me. And I remember it was pretty hot as well, and it was just between the different spikes of the showstopper, that horrible virus beginning with C. And it was just at a point where it looked like it was almost going away. And then all of a sudden I had this alien popping out of me. So off down the hospital, and they did emergency surgery that night. It's pretty unpleasant. So yeah, I'll bet he's sore. And it takes. Hello, John. Piccadilly Model Railway. I thought I'd pop in and say hello. That's very nice of you, John. Yeah, always welcome. And Chris. Hello, Chris. Nice to see you. Um, yeah, so the plumber's probably a bit sore after his operation. It's probably going to be that way for about a week. No matter how he wants to get up and get about, if he can. Um, yeah, anything involving stitches makes you a bit sore. So the wife wants you. All right, okay. I'm not one to stand in the way of any wives. The aorta replaced in the middle of COVID and sore for 6 months. Yeah, the aorta's heart, I believe. Is that right, Tiberseth? My mother had a history of heart problems brought about by when she was very young. She got rheumatic fever, and it affects the valves of the heart. Yeah, the main artery. Ooh, the aorta. Ah. The only time I remember the aorta being mentioned was there was a guy who attempted to jump the what is it, the Caesar's Palace. Where was it? It was in Las Vegas, I think. To jump the fountains like Evil Knievel did, and he had a terrible crash. He reckoned that somebody had moved his ramp in the night, and he came off sideways, hit a concrete wall, and it ripped the aorta from his heart, which oh, terrible. And I believe he's still alive, but for the life of me, I can't remember his name. Perhaps our American cousins can help me out there. Um, yeah, yeah, it's just beyond what I can think of at the moment. Oof. I'm now 1% not human. Ah, right. Yes, my mother ended up with it was like a plastic valve. It looked like it had a cage on one end. Um, and if you got close enough to it, you could actually hear it click. every time the heart beating. Mm, Well, being 1% less human, that's not so bad. There's lots of people who are a lot less fortunate than us. So, um, there, but for the grace of God, go we. Oh, well, Rick, what boiler are you working on? That's something I meant to ask you, actually, Boilermaker. Um, is that gas boiler? Is that steam boiler related, or just boiler? You're just making plans for your layout. Oh, a noble art. We're all becoming cyborgs. Yeah. Um, the way the mobile phones are going now, they'll find ways of attaching them to your glasses, sticking it in your ears, and they'll probably spray it on your eyes next. 99% human, 1% nearer to being an android. Um, let's go one better and call you a humanoid. In the About Me section. Yeah, I'm interested in that because it says, for business reasons, here's my email. I wonder. Hello, Helen Reynolds, and good afternoon to you. Are you going live tonight? That's Sunday night's usually your thing, is it not, Alan? Jim, you've got a pacemaker, 5 stents, and plastic lenses in your eyes. Um, I'd say that's fair wear and tear. Yes, you'll be there. Well, so will we. We're going to give you all the support we can, Alan. And very valuable it is too on a Sunday night. Will it be from the loft or will it be from the dining room, workroom, sitting room, kitchen? You'll always find me in the kitchen at parties. I think that was a song. Stephen Cameron. Hello. How the devil are you? Jim is 7% cyborg. That is impressive. Yeah, I'm not sure you've ever heard of the Daleks. Have you, Jim? Uh, the what was it? The chief manufacturer of the Daleks was Digger Evans. Hello, how are you? He was called Davros. Yes, and he was sort of a half. I don't know what you call him. He's a half alien, half Dalek. Ah, so you know of Doctor Who? Yeah. Very strange thing that was. It was sci-fi done on a real budget back in those days. I think they spend a little more money on it now. Davros, creator of the Daleks. Yes, John. Yeah, absolutely. Right. Mick at Edgy Park Station. I'm really sorry, Mick, but uh, the beers had to go in the fridge, and here's a coffee. Cheers, everybody. Yeah, just recovering from the light bleed. Yes, you are 100% loony. Join the club. The hobby room tonight. Cold in the lofts. Cold. Still have freezing northeast wind. Yes. I can't see it. It's 1 degree at the moment. Just 5 foot to the left of me. It is 1 degree out there. I've got a little heater down here in the shed with me, um, which was going for about an hour and a half before I ventured down here. You've got a nice hobgoblin. For our American cousins, that's a beer uh, along the lines of bitter or ale or what the Scottish would call heavy. Am I right about that? From what I can remember of Scotland. Uh, Posting a video of the Surfliner soon. Now, the Surfliner, that sounds very Amtrak. Am I right, Charlie? Surfliner. Is that double-decker coaches? That's Lee saying hello. Charlie. Dino. Dino, have you slid in somewhere? Yeah, Hobgoblin. Yeah, it's one of these sort of 6 or 7% ales, I think. So it's pretty strong. It's getting up towards wine. Uh, yeah, it's probably very hoppy. Already seen it. Cranston Junction, very quick off the mark there. Cranston Junction, that's out, correct? Yeah, Dino, I'm fine. Um, Still trying to dodge the freezing weather. Mr. Dodge, how are you? Very nice of you to drop in. Hope it's not too early for you. I know it's something like 10:30 there in Toledo. I'm presuming, of course, you're at home. 11:30. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's good. Well, I've still got some coffee. Cheers, Mick. Back on night shift tomorrow. Oh, work. Who had to mention work? What trains am I running? Okay. Right. Coming past the camera first on the down line is Class 25 experiment in RTC colours. Pulling a very small rake of, there's a container, and two China clay wagons coming the other way. Cross 9M, a little slow. Perhaps we can just adjust him up a little. Where am I? Pulling a rake of coal wagons, assorted China clays, 7 plank wagons, and a trusty British Rail brake van on the end as a caboose. Ah, that's what's running today. They're all DC, by the way. Haven't got around to sound fitting any of those yet. So I could run pure DCC on both lines, but it's either fully DC or fully DCC. I can't run half and half. So yeah. Uh, oh, Automaker Rick, we're getting snow 1 to 3 inches. Now we've had a basin of that. The problem with that was that it hung around for a week or two. Don't think we had that much more, but it just wouldn't go away. It was there as long as it was freezing cold, and literally it was didn't get up below, didn't get above 0 centigrade for the next 2 weeks. So we were stuck with it. And I think the longer it went on, the harder the snow became until it was almost ice. And I came down here into the shed, put on the heater, and this ceiling, it's just, I don't know, half-inch wood. It must be pretty good as an insulator because it was having difficulty melting the snow on the roof. So you're getting a big storm on Wednesday. This is the time of year when you get your big snows. Yeah, well, you're fairly north, I believe. You're sort of well on your way to Canada. Is that right, Anthony? Where you are in Toledo? Started with rain mixed with snow, then turned to all snow Thursday and Friday. So you obviously know it's coming. Um, we seem to know it's coming and ignore it until it bites us in the arse. Backside. Sorry. And then all hell breaks loose because we're just not set up for it. We really are. Canada's about 60 miles by car. Now, 60 miles I can relate to. That will take me from here. If I was going north from where I live in Hertfordshire, that would take me roughly to just north of Peterborough. So that's not much in the big stretch of America. 60 miles, 45 miles by water. Yeah, that's an odd concept, isn't it? Quick, get out the Pan Am Clipper. Smallwood Junction, good afternoon. Nice to see you. Welcome in. Uh, Now, Digger's got a fair size layout. Have you worked on anything just recently, Digger? From what I can remember, you've got some kind of concrete overpass. And I know the last time I popped in, you were working on, I think you were working on a couple of high-rise buildings. I might be right there. Maybe you were adding some lighting in it. So, Burst to Digger, this apprenticeship on the Yankee Clippers in Shorts Midway before the war. France. Well, how about that? Yeah, concrete road and a rail bridge too. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. You see, my memory's not as bad as I thought it was. You're about 2 hours by car south of Antony. So that's probably about an inch on the map. I've been painting my TND doors today. It's so cold, the paint takes ages to dry. Yeah, that is a problem. Um, Let me just take a look at the hygrometer. Uh, it is. It's something like 73 degrees Fahrenheit in here and just over 60% humidity. Flymo Chairman, hello Adam, how are you? Just working on the background building. Yeah, that's where I think I saw you last. Just don't like the cold weather and the layouts in the shed. Yeah, this is a problem. So I thought I have got a couple of trees that I won in Jason at Barnabas Junction's competition around Christmas. I had a couple of trees and I thought, yeah, I'll put them in. And then as soon as I stepped out the door, I thought, oh, no, perhaps not. Particularly if I've got to glue them and the glue takes 30 minutes to dry. I don't know. So, Flymo, how are you? How are you doing? Feeling in yourself? I think you were suffering a bit of man flu. I could be right there, and I could be wrong. Drunk again. Excuse me. Ah, And for those of you that know Adam, Adam's in Scotland, so there's probably been a fair amount of snow up there. I think it's safe to say. Every time any snow appears to be heading in from the Atlantic, or any kind of moisture coming in from the Atlantic, it seems to hit the cold air just around about Scotland and then just dumps. It just dumps on Scotland. So probably okay, A&C Railroad and Enscow and Life Journey. Nice to see you in. Um, have a pleasant day. Yeah, I think perhaps we could get things moving a little more stiffly. Not around you. Oh, okay. More up north, Aviemore and the big resorts. Yeah, they must be loving it. 'Cause I know there's a bit of a industry goes on there with skiing and oh, whereabouts are you, Dino? Loads of ice. Yes, yes, I've noticed that. There was a little pool of water outside the back door. I think it's from just a leaking gutter, but where it's just drip, 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 it's made a little. Obviously, it was a pool of water, but now it's become a chunk of ice. So I keep chipping it off, and then it just appears again and solidifies. Derby. Okay, that's definitely Midlands. Yeah, I remember doing a couple of jobs in Derby. Yeah, the home of Rolls Royce. Plenty of frost. Yes. Uh, I know they forecast fog, and believe you me, when you're in England and they forecast fog, you do tend to take notice of that because on occasions you can cut it with a knife. I mean, it's really, um, yeah, it's not like the old pea supers where everybody had coal fires and you had this sulphurous cloud of impenetrable fog. It's a little more lightweight than that, but it's still minimum visibility is usually about I don't know between 20 and 50 yards when it gets really thick. Um, but they did forecast some of that overnight. And this morning I took a walk, my morning constitutional, um, and there was no fog at all. But it was just oh, a really bright, I would say. It was a clear sky and it was bright, but it really got to you. It was hands in your pockets time. So it looks like we're all suffering pretty much the same kind of dire consequences. You've not been out yet. Rain, cold, cold rain. Yeah, yeah. That was when I was on a motorbike. That was the least, my least favourite weather to go through, particularly fine rain, because it just penetrated everything. If it was a heavy shower and it was gone, that would be fine. when the rain's so fine, it's almost like a cumulonimbus cloud, which has plonked itself pretty low down. Uh, really, everything got saturated, and if you're out in it long enough, anything more than 20 minutes, 30 minutes, the cold really gets to you. And even with waterproofs on, you still get a penetration of salts. So all of a sudden you'll feel uh, cold, icy cold water in your nether regions, and you think, oh no, there you go. Even with waders on and bell staff, there's not much use on the bike. Well, I suppose I use a like synthetic stuff, but it's only waterproof for so long, and then it starts to Fox Hill Railway. Hi Neil, how are you? Sorry, I was just blathering there. Um, that's the thing about live streams. You have to watch the chat. I mean, really quite carefully, because if five people all come in at the same time, you quickly miss something because it's up the top of the page, and you think, "Oh, how did I miss that?" But yeah, um, I discounted leathers because although they're great and they're tough and all the rest of it, um, leathers are in no way waterproof. So I tend to go for the synthetic jackets and over trousers. But even then, after a while, they get less waterproof and little bits go threadbare here and there. And the water will find its way in sooner or later. During like a 60-mile-an-hour gust all the time, particularly out on the some of the roads I used to have to go to work when I did work, of course. um, and it was a pretty nasty road. It was full of switchbacks, S curves. Um, there were there was fields on either side, so if it really flooded, you'd get this gush of mud onto the road, which was deadly. Uh, when you're on two wheels, the merest sign of anything slippery, you're gone before you can bat an eyelid. Uh, you're skidding down the road on your backside. The brake van in the thumbnail. Yes. Where is it? Actually, I've put it right behind the crosstie. Um, it's a Hornby brake van. I picked it up at Getz, the Great Electric Train Show in Milton Keynes. There's a plug. It's right behind the crosstie. So as it comes around, I'll stop it. Hold on. Come on, me beauty. There it is, sort of there. Yeah, it's in sort of British Railways colours, in a blue actually. So it's BR blue, and it's got S&T, which is Signal and Telegraph. The BR double arrow sign, and Chester, which is obviously the depot. So yeah, Dino was asking me about that as well, and I saw it there. It was something like, I hate to say this, £27, which was pretty steep. But I thought, it had one of these new fancy Hornby numbers. So it was an R30056. They've added another digit on, just to give them more numbers. Um, and I thought it's brand new. I'll grab it while I can, because if it's anything like their other stuff, they do a limited run and it's gone. And then uh, is that Mick off? Going to remedy the light bleed. Yes, I'll talk to you about that some other time, Mick. That's pretty severe. A 125 Honda. As soon as a few drops of rain hit the visor, you'll be guaranteed to have a seized clutch. Ooh. Kick down, and it's sorted. But yeah, okay. Yeah, once things like that start, um, mhm, 3.5. Hang on, wait a minute. Well, that's the E2 derailment card. It is fun. After 3.5 hours on artist stream, you're a bit hosted out. Yes, I'll bet you are. Yes, I mean I've been going for probably about an hour. 3.5 hours. That's particularly when you've done two the night before. That's pretty hard going. Try and go for 10 hours. Well, come on then. Who's done 10 hours? That's obviously it's not a record because people have gone on for 24 hours before now. But 10 hours. That's uh, 10 hours. Who did 10 hours? Come on, Rick. Tell us. Spill the beans, my boy. Now, Fox Hill Neil, you're in France, if I'm not very much mistaken. Now, you must be a little warmer than we are. So it's got to be 5 or 6 degrees here. Tell me I'm wrong. Matt from Mac the Dragon did over 6 last night. 6 hours. I know Alan's done some long ones because I've been in a couple of them which stretched out to 1 o'clock, 1 in the morning, 1:30. But there was a couple where I just threw in the towel. I thought, oh, I can't, I just can't keep my eyes open. And Alan, I know you were having trouble as well, obviously, because we saw um, a bit of the replay, and I think you were getting about 3 sheets to the wind. Let's be close to the 10 hour mark. I think it may have went to 6 hours and 14 minutes. Uh, did he imagine for a second that he would be on that long, or did the time just fly and couldn't quite get his head around it? 4 to 5 at the moment. 4 to 5. That yeah, windy on the coast, so it feels like -1. Yes, yeah. Um, 4 to 5. Even then, that's 3 or 4 degrees better than it is here, which is 1 degree at the moment. But inside the shed, it's around about 72 degrees Fahrenheit. And just 3 hours. Then we have to take over. That fixed a HiMac, and then we started chatting. What did I fixed the HiMac, then we started chatting. We've done the whole thing. Right, okay. The beer helped, but not with communications. Yes, I can well understand that. I'll stick to the coffee, which is going a bit cold. A jittery start, really. All came through. He was fixing a HiMac, and he got it going. Oh well, fair play. No snow in France yet either. Okay. Well, believe you me, you don't want any. Um, I just sigh a huge sigh of relief when it heads across Ireland, sort of heads for Scotland. Sorry, Adam. This better go somewhere where they're used to it, because we're not. We don't get enough of it to take it that seriously until it overwhelms us, and then all of a sudden, oh dear. Yours in later than Chris. Yeah. Forgive me for saying so, but 6 hours. 6 hours is a killer. You're freezing already. Yeah. And you're going to go outside, apparently. Oh, in tempestuous fall. Oh, I could do a Robert impression here and say, "Oh, what a lovely cup of tea! Oh, yeah, I'll just have a quick slurp." You went to bed halfway through. Yeah, okay. Couldn't talk for that long. Yeah, I suppose I could. There's always a danger you're going to go over the same subject twice, uh, which can happen when you've got guests in. I've seen that a few times, particularly when somebody gets bounced in the chat um, by one of your other co-hosts, and then you end up saying the same thing again just to try and get your point across. You can talk that long, but even you would get sick of listening to yourself. Okay. Um, that's if you're going back over it and checking something. Uh, did okay on Jason's radio program line. Um, yeah, radio crew. It was probably watching it to chat about a few of his friends came in up on the stream. Quite a good night. Yeah, Robert's train set. What a legend. Yes. Yeah. Roberts. Roberts obviously retired, and then he took up the model railway bug, and then he just sort of picked it up and ran with it. And he's run with it to such a degree that he's now gone to I trains and things of that nature. Um, Obviously, if you're going to go with any kind of automation, then iTrains looked pretty good actually. Um, I think it favours a slightly larger train set model railway than Robert's got, particularly if you want to run say a 6 coach Pullman like the Midland Pullman. Then I think you might have problems, uh, particularly if the computer needs to know where the train is, and it also depends on how big the sections are. But fair play to him. Um, that's quite a big undertaking, and I think he's doing brilliantly well with it. And it must be pretty cold in his loft now, I would have thought. Now, Robert doesn't seem to mind that. He'd rather put on some extra clothes than do it in the summer where it's absolutely stifling hot. Yeah, I can agree with that. I know where he's coming from because when it's too hot, there's nowhere to escape from it. Um, when it's colder, yes, you can put on your woolly hat and a scarf if you wish, but I'd rather have it temperate, which is why we're in this bloody country. But we don't seem to get temperate um, for any length of time. You're looking at late March up until May. May tends to get quite hot now, and then it used to be September. It used to start to get cold, but um, it's now gone to October, almost November, sometimes just into November before it starts getting really cold and we get the first signs of anything nasty. Um, so yes, end of summer is better. The transition to summer, we don't seem to get a lot of it now. So all of a sudden, you've gone from famine to absolute feast, and then quickly back to famine again, where it's too hot even to be in the shed. Which I don't find that a problem. Just leave the door open. Um, but if it's going to be 100 degrees, phew. Yes, meeting Robert in person. Yes, I did meet him, and that was actually at Getz, but I kept missing him until somebody said, "Ah, well, wait until you get a load of his shirt." And I went, "Yeah, can you elaborate on that?" And they said, "Yes, like Hawaiian shirt," and yeah, it was pretty loud. Uh, so I thought, okay, I'll find him. So as I cast around, I just found him at like a narrow gauge layout, and I went up and I introduced myself. Yeah, great guy. Real entertainment value, Robert. And he's quite confident and outgoing, which not everybody is. Heard the shirt before seeing him. Yes, yeah, it's a real whopper. Now I've got a few of those myself, so be warned when the warmer climes come. I might treat you to the Hawaiian shirt. Yeah, Diamond Guy. He is indeed. You Boilermaker Rick doesn't have a woolly hat. You don't have a woolly hat. Huh. Okay. So what have you got instead of a woolly hat? Is it a baseball cap? Are you baseball cat-ish, Boilermaker Rick? Dragon Junction. Don't live that far away from here. Well, Alan's in Wales, if I'm not much mistaken. Yes, he definitely is in Wales. Being Dragon Junction. How stupid. Uh, you don't wear a hat at all. Hmm. Okay. So if it's 20 degrees below zero out there, would you just suffer it? I guess you do. But yeah, a lot of the heat goes out through the heads. Yeah, I remember my grandfather used to wear an old woolly hat. One time he got up in the middle of the night and it fell off the top of his head, down his back, straight down the toilet, uh, which it swiftly blocked on the pulling of the chain. My father extracted it with a bent wire um, coat hanger and pulled it out, and it was in not a very nice state. And upon seeing said hat, he exclaimed, "Oh, don't worry, your mum will wash it out for me." At which point she started heaving. Needless to say, it went out with the rubbish, and we got him a new hat. You visited Alan Dragon Junction in his shed 2 years ago. Oh, it's Neil off. Back to work. Au revoir. Nice to see you, Neil. Give our love to our French cousins. Yes, I did meet Alan too. In fact, I met Alan first because Alan had quite a contingent with him in the form of his daughter, his wife, and I think it's his grandson as well. So there's quite a big mob of them, and they're all really interesting, nice people. So we chewed quite a bit of fat with them. But Alan was mobbed. Stanhover Model Railway. Hello, Mark. Nice to see you. Uh, this is what a real cringe-making chat should look like. Uh, nice to see you, Mark. Um, for anybody who's just joined, coming up on my right is Class 25 experiment in RTC livery, which is Research Training Centre, I think. Pulling cargo. On this side, Crossley 9F, freight van, coal wagons, China Clay wagons, and BR Grey freight van on the end. Yeah, anyway, nice to see you, Mark. Yes, I did meet Alan at Getz, but he was mobbed and didn't realise I was doing a live stream. Late to the party. A Sunday clubber is never late, Frodo Baggins. Nor is he early. He arrives exactly when he means to. Oh, I got it right. Yeah. Um, no, it's not Jenny Kirk's sidekick. No. In fact, I don't have a sidekick. Uh, yeah, I could persuade my son to come in here with me, but he's stuck into a video game at the moment. So, when he's in a state of grace like that, I try not to mess with him. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't want to harsh his buzz. Didn't realise I was doing a live stream. No, I wasn't quite sure myself. British. Yeah. Got to get back to work on the layout. Bye, everyone. Go stream hot dog. Thank you, Jim. Nice to see you. I'll see you in the week sometime. A state of grace. Yeah. So I said, well, I really ought to pull my finger out. It's either that or make a video. And if I was going to do a video, then I'd really change up what I'm running here today. I was thinking of getting something London North Eastern Railway out, which perhaps I'll say for next Sunday. 11 likes, 16 participants. Incredible. Well, I've been going 1 hour and 8 minutes. Amazing. Yeah, so I did meet Alan before I was sidetracked there. Sorry about that. But he was mobbed at Getz. Getz is a pretty good show. Uh, most of the big bruisers are there. Plus, you've got the exhibition layout from Chester Cathedral that Pete Waterman's doing, which have been transplanted in there. That was, I don't know, 3 or 4 deep. If you get any more views, you should get some mods. Yes, well, I'll have a little practice in the week. And I could probably figure it out. But I'll go into conference with my son, and we'll do a pseudo live stream with me and him in it, and then I can ponce around with the settings without upsetting anything. Yeah, but yeah, you're probably right. Timbersurf should get some moderators. Obviously, yourself and Adam come to mind. I know Digger does quite a few. Am I correct, Digger? I think you're probably moderator on quite a few. I mean, it's not to the point where It's like Anthony, who does one every week, the two every week. And I'm not sure about RT Zeros. I don't know if everybody's moderators, but I know Anthony makes. Yeah, happy to help. That's very kind of you, Digger. Yes, if I need to, I'm. It's nice to have a good crush to lean on. So let me continue your project today, but visited Canterbury Model Railway exhibition. Video to come out at some point soon. Okay, that sounds pretty good. I've got a few vivid memories of Canterbury, but they're scrambled. Obviously, I know there's Canterbury Cathedral and a couple of thousand years of history there, but I remember going through it on the way to somewhere like Ramsgate, which is what would you call Ramsgate? It's sort of a seaside resort, a bit like Southend. And back in the day, they had like a fun fair, and uh, they also had a hoverport there where you go to France. You did get the year before last. Okay, was that 2019, Timber? Yes, the three of you are prolific. Yes, indeed, you are. Gets the year before last. If I'm not wrong, that was 2019. Am I correct? 2021. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, there've been two now. I know the showstopper got in the way. And from what I can recall, the Gets was the first live exhibition we went to after the virus. You organised the meetup. Wow, how about that? You see, I may have walked right past you and not even noticed. That's the problem with anonymity. So we got a message here. First big one. It was the first big one, and I think I got the Wainwright D. Was it the D class? The ones that Rouser Sheffield did, and it was one of those that I hadn't got. And I am denied about it. And Rouse was selling off the last of the ones they had, and also they were parading around uh, the gas turbine that they'd done. Gas turbine, yes. And we had one of those on order, and they were running it there because I did put in a request, and the guy sort of sniffed because it was called Kerosene Castle, and that's why I remember it. But we knew we had one coming, so we really wanted to see it in action, and they did oblige and showed it. It was nice to get out today. The wife came as well. It's nice to have some sort of time to ourselves, both enjoy. Yeah, yeah. From what I can remember of Canterbury, it was quite well laid out, but it was a quite a well-known stopping point to sort of use toilets and get some drinks and things like that on the way to Broadstairs or Margate or Ramsgate, from what I can remember. Hoping to do more shows this year with Scale 3D stand. Are they at Ali Pally? Probably be later in the year. So Ali Pally's not far away now. Um, when did I say it was? It was sort of the middle of March, from what I can remember. Because I did look last week, and it was the middle of March. Um, I can't remember any more detail than that. It was something like 12th, 13th, or 15th, 16th, something like that. So yeah, it'd be great to see you there. Start small to get a hang of doing shows. Yeah, that's wise. That's wise. Particularly if it's particularly popular and you get swamped with people and people are all looking at you sideways saying, "You're timber surf, aren't you?" I think the only way we'd find out, unless you wore a t-shirt which said, "I'm timber surf," is to shout, "Oi, timber!" And whoever looks around, uh, yeah, right. 18th to 19th March. Thanks, Timber Surf. 18th to 19th. Yeah, it's sort of mid to late March. Well, you've been recognised by your voice. That's extraordinary. Yeah. Now, there could be manifold reasons for that. You could have a deep and booming voice. You could be, "How now, brown cow?" You could be Scottish, uh, Welsh. Now, Ben does actually sound Welsh. Or you could have more of a sort of high pitched voice, somewhere along the lines of, who am I thinking of? Joe, who's got a very sort of squeaky voice. Uh, yeah, comedian. Joe, somebody help me. Let's go to more shows, but not many. Less than 2 hours drive for, or and the two that are local. We see, when we went to Worley, that was about an hour and three quarters. So that was 100 miles away, which is roughly Birmingham. And two that are local, one here, 40 miles away. We don't go to that one. Yeah, probably because you know for a fact that there's going to be no sort of Marklin type, sorry, Märklin type stuff. Obviously, don't watch my videos. Uh, well, let's put it this way: Joe Pasquale, that's the man. Joe Pasquale. Okay, you obviously don't watch my videos. Okay, well, I'll get a handle on that. Don't you worry. Um, don't ask me to try and imitate it because I'm not that much good at mimicry. But yeah, crash nuts. No, I was born like it. Because X Club has a big display at it. And don't want to see them. Oh, okay. Ah, so yeah, X Club. X Club speaks volumes, does it not? Anyway, I will catch up with your videos, Timber Surf. I won't lie to you. No, I haven't watched them, but I will. I was going to say actually, yeah, we're spoiled for choice. Um, Loads of subscriptions, and then you click on the bell or whatever, and it brings up the message, and you think, "Oh my god, how am I going to get through this lot?" There's like 6 or 7 videos all popped up, and it does take a while to get through them. You guessed, yeah, you guessed it. Um, but yeah, I'll catch up. Watched Joe Pasquale in Panto last December. Very funny guy. Yes, I think the public became a little bit exhausted with him, but you certainly know what you get. I know a song that will get on your nerves, get on your nerves. Mm. Oh no, he isn't. Yeah, that's Panto. Yeah. Oh no, he isn't. Oh yes, he is. Oh yeah. For anybody that's worked in a school, I always found it a bit like an enjoyable pantomime. Uh, some of it was pure slapstick, um, and the kids are really funny. The children are really funny. Um, some of the things they just come out with, uh, because there's not much of a buffer, particularly in the early years, between what's in their brain and what actually comes out of their mouth, which is quite refreshing, actually. It's only later on that we choose what we say a little more carefully. Oh, no, yes, he is. Laugh out loud, Digger. What did Digger say? Oh, no, he isn't. Yeah, yeah. That's one thing, unfortunately, I missed out on this year. The whole school usually went to the panto in Stevenage. I don't even know what was on this year. I think last year it was Jack and the Beanstalk type thing. This year I'm not sure what it was, but I didn't get an invite. Um, I think there's obviously safeguarding problems there. Once you're out of the school and out of their jurisdiction, um, although I still had my certificate that said I'm safe to work in schools. Um, that's it. You're out. Once you're out, you're out. But yeah, I thought they might have invited me along, but it didn't happen. So, but never mind. Never mind. I was busy decorating at the time. So, never mind. English China Clay International. Love that. I always like the English China Clay stuff when it actually said English China Clay on it. The latest bullets, of which you'll see next time that comes around. The one that comes around's half weathered bullet. So it's sort of half, not even half chromed, it's about a third chromed, and the rest of it's been weathered, which I think they did as uh, sort of a limited edition, sort of a halfway house. So here it comes. Uh, Container, Tiger, and there's the bullet coming into view now. So that one's a half and half. And of course, in big writing, ECC, standing for English China Clay. And I always preferred that. And then, of course, those of you that know the history will know that the French took it over and it became, what did it become? Some non-entity of a name. I'm trying to think actually, but it's not coming to me. Anyway, true to form, as soon as they had a change of ownership, then the signage on it was wiped off and it went to another type of signage. You just booked the tickets for Ali Pali going on the Saturday. Well, the chances are we will probably go on the Saturday as well, myself and my son, Richard, mainly because, um, how do I explain this? There's one particular seller that we go to that has American stuff, um, Broadway Limited, Athens Genesis, uh, usually some MTH, old MTH stuff as well, scale trains, um, Intermountain, all of the big movers and shakers in the States. And they usually have some pretty good stuff. So we like to get as close to the front as we can. on the first day and get the hell in there. So that's what we did at Getz. That's what we did at Worley. Um, I did have thoughts about going on the Sunday, but I think my son wanted to get in there early and get digging. Uh, in the past, loaded ECC in Trevisco, China clay, 26 tons for delivery to Italy. Yeah, I suppose anywhere where there's a burgeoning paper industry, clothing industry, China clay is used for so many things. Paper, clothing, obviously pottery, but there's a lot of China clay in a lot of things. So yeah, I'm still having difficulty remembering what English China clay became. Imeris, that's it. Imeris. It's a nonsensical name. We used to have some great names of cars like Capri, Cortina, and then all of a sudden things are named after ashtrays and things like that. And you think, where did they get these rubbish names from? You know, um, the Toyota toilet bowl or something like that, and the ick. Yeah, what's all that about? Anyway, what's in the name? So it was Imeris. Yeah, that's who took over English China Clay. Um, no, and then they'll probably shut it all down. Oh, it's not making enough money. You can make Ali Pally. You have to go on the Sunday. You should be working on the Saturday. Oh, that's a bummer. Uh, yeah. Well, it'd be nice to have a meet up, but it's not the be all and end all of everything. But after you've gone around the initial surge of a exhibition, it's nice to meet up somewhere around before or just after dinner time, which lunchtime's about 12 o'clock. Didn't know ashtrays had names. Yeah, well, you had the Vauxhall ashtray. Oh, sorry, Astra, um, which wasn't a bad name actually. You had the Vauxhall Nova, um, being Supernova. Dave the ashtray. Yeah. But having said that, there's some pretty dire names out there like the Qashqai. That's what I was trying to. Qashqai, yeah. What's that? Is that an Arab wind or something that I don't know about? They'd be better off calling it the Mistral, something French and. We met Jenny Kirk at Annie Pally last year. Okay, now where did I meet Jenny? Um, I met her at Getz, I think it was, and I didn't actually get past Jenny's other half, Zoe, um, because Jenny had her head stuck in whatever project she was doing. But it was Zoe that took the time to say, "Well, this is what I'm doing," and she was doing like a card kit or a plastic kit and putting it together. She didn't need any prompting from me; she knew what she was doing. But yeah, we engaged in conversation. Yeah, very nice lady. But Jenny was obviously stuck well in. So yeah, Zoe's approachable. So by all means, if she's there, go and say hello. Oh, right. Didn't I say? Yeah, work every Saturday. Oh, bummer. Let's see. Books it off as a holiday. Yeah, there's lots of people in that position. Obviously, it doesn't apply so much to schools. But then when you're working in a school, you've got the dreadful school holidays and you're literally tied to those. And I have been for God knows how long because even before I worked in the school as a caretaker, my wife was a cook in the school. So yeah, And then when both of us were working at schools, um, well, you just shanghaied every time you want to have a holiday. Um, because I didn't get the 6 weeks off being a caretaker in a school like you would, um, like the teachers would. Not that some of them had 6 weeks off because they always show up. Um, but I had to pick X amount of weeks out of my allowance, which is about 5 weeks leave. And then what I did on the 6 weeks holiday in the summer, I would pick the centre 2 weeks, which is really limiting. And obviously, anything you book for that would be expensive, probably the worst. So it's sort of mid August. Um, yeah, it does take the wind out of yourselves. Train shows too much money for too little. Yeah, okay, yeah. Gets to 2021 and several times the other shows the last 2 years. Yeah, she's quite tall, is Jenny, and I'm quite short. So yeah, I get the great view of the inside of her nose while she's looking down at the top of my head. Both worked in a primary and high school. School dinners, yeah. Always got the first of the seconds if there was plenty left. Ah, I see. Well, my wife's still got the recipe for school chicken curry, uh, which they've, strangely enough, they brought back this year. It wasn't in the school last year. So, what did you have for dinner last night? School chicken curry. How'd you manage that? Yes. I drove school meals out to the local schools. Yes. Yeah. Any very small schools didn't even have their own dining catering, um, which is a shame. Chocolate fudge tart. Yeah. Chocolate fudge tart. Yeah. That's it used to have some pretty exotic things. They used to make a really nice barbecue sauce as well. But the children didn't like it. I was absolutely amazed because it was like a sweet and sour sauce. They called it barbecue sauce, but I mean it was really tasty. And of course they had to do it by the gallon uh, in a school where there's 220 children. 80% of model railway YouTubers are 6 foot tall. Yeah, yeah. Well, obviously you've got people like Anthony, something like 6'2", 6'4", and of course you've got to have somebody up the other end of the scale, like me, public leaning post, who's I don't know 5'4". So yeah, I got to look up her nose too. She was in bare feet by then. The somebody. Yeah, um, that's obviously that obviously gives you a bit of trouble when, how do I put this pleasantly? The bigger you are, the more likely to topple off your platform shoes you're likely to be. Make one of your own kids. Alan, 6'1". Yeah, 6 foot, 6'1". So you're in close proximity to the top of the door frame. Yeah. Well, we are a mixed bag. Richard's about 5'10". It's amazing that he sprang from my loins, being 5'10", but obviously there's the influence of my wife as well. And her dad's about 5'10", so that's where that came from. The custard sauce got thinner. Um, yeah, it depends what they made it with, Flymo. If it was full fat milk, then it used to get a really bad skin on it. Uh, but if it was too thin, it turned into sort of a jelly and just sort of moved around in sort of like a viscous fluid. So it's very difficult to get custard right. Um, I'd, I'd rather eat it dry. I think that's where I didn't get the taste for gravy, um, because I liked Oxo gravy, which was one of those little cubes that used to come in foil and you used to drop it into boiling water. And the rest of the family liked Bisto, which was sort of a granules and you sort of mixed it up. Uh, hmm, yeah, Jenny Goes to Glasgow, 2022. Okay. Chocolate and strawberry custard. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry, Anthony. We're probably putting you through the ringer here. I'm not sure what they had in American schools, but it was probably same old, same old. They probably had the same thing on the menu for years and years and years, and you got to know what you did like and what you didn't like. A running joke. And Joyce and I were in the UK every time we met a YouTuber. I didn't know you were so tall. Yeah, well, Anthony, you must have met the small contingent because believe you me, there are a few um, giants, the land of the giants, and Irwin Allen production. So yeah, there's quite a few tall guys. Uh, Robert is fairly tall. Robert's about 5'10", something like that, and he was taller than I imagined because see him on a live stream, and it's just because my head's up near the top of the screen. There's no way you can tell how tall I am from the length of my arm to the track. But obviously, you compare me with a door, and then you'll get a good idea of where I come up on it. Yeah, Jason from Barnabas is tall, and yeah, there seems to be quite a few tall, quite a few short, like myself, Charlie Bishop. Um, I don't think Tony Northeastern is a very tall man. He's perhaps something like 5'7", I would have said. 6'4". Yeah, that's nearly a door frame scraper. Mystic Railroads, hello, how are you? What's happening? Uh, Not much. I've sort of camped out in the freezing cold of the shed, but I got the heater on and it's okay, John. Ah, Tony is in my club. Tony. Tim and Tim's Tim's hobby desk isn't a tall person. Okay. Yeah, so I think we've established we're probably a good mix up of the sublime to the ridiculous, depending on which way you want to start from there, going bottom up or top down. Oh, so how are you, John of Mystic Railroad? Um, Probably hunkered down somewhere out of the freezing cold wind and snow, unless of course you're in Australia, of course, and then this would be their summer about now. It's about 100 degrees. 6'1" when stretched out. Oh, is that on a rack, Flomo? Stretched out. Stretched out on the sofa. Okay. Okay, Dino, nice to see you. I'm probably going to go on another about 10 minutes, I would have thought, because dinner's going to be coming up fairly soon. 6 o'clock ish. I'm fully expecting to get a text in a minute from my wife saying, Dinner. But there you go. That was terrible, terrible mimicry. Dinner, darling. No, that don't sound right either. Oh, You're running all your stock on the wheel cleaner. Okay, yeah, I did see that wheel cleaner, which was a Perspex contraption with the wheel cleaner on it. And I understood what Jean Ricard was saying about getting it actually installed into the layout. But then equally, you were countering that with, yeah, but I've got battens underneath and I'd have to cut through them as well, which does make it awkward because that's quite a box section. Miss 3'10". 3'10". Oh, okay. Yes. That's fun size. Vertically challenged. Uh, Now fun size, I think I can live with being fun size. In scale. Yeah, yeah. I see where you're coming from there. The bed has to be 6 foot long. Yeah, you need a. Is it a super king size? You need to lie flat sometime. Well, you're going to get to about 90, where you're not going to be bothered whether you go bed or not. Uh, my old man's like that. Sometimes I say, right, I'll see you later. Next time I come in, he hasn't moved, which is the next day. Just didn't bother going to bed. Wife is tiny, barely 5 foot tall. Yeah, okay. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that either. Um, it's nice to be fun sized. Think of all the nasty little places like underneath the layouts we can get to, where you don't have to struggle. Uh, Easier to manoeuvre, but the long arms of a 6 footer would come in handy. They can call you a hobbit. Yeah, I'm more sort of Yoda. Um, we are fun size. Yeah, yeah. Everybody who try to run things like this, uh, there's got to be an element of fun in it. Otherwise, oh, well, I don't really want to suffer from it. I rather enjoy it, and it's supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be ugly. Yeah, digger being tiny can be useful. Can be a pain in the backside as well. A proud foot twice removed on your mother's side. Um, well, there must be something odd in my family because my mother had jet black hair and blue eyes. Go figure. Find all, find all the loose coins under the couch. Yeah, yeah. I remember taking an old couch apart, and I thought, well, it was too big to fit in the car, so I thought I'd smash it up and take it bit by bit, and then I could put it in ad hoc. It was only when I took it apart I found out just how much change there was floating around inside it. Um, Extraordinary, really. I mean, it was getting on for 18 years old, so it had seen a bit of wear and tear. But yeah, there was a tiny hole under one of the arms. Um, Obviously, people's change had dropped out over the years, and although you slid your hand down by the side of the arm, it felt as though it was complete. But obviously, there was this little depression there, which was a hole, and it was amazing how much change had gone through there. Lots of good boxwood in a divan king size. Yeah, a king size bed. That's what I was trying to get to. Divan king size. Throw nothing out. Yeah. Some of it's pretty uh ropey in the wood stakes. Obviously unplaned, unfinished. It looked like it was. I mean, it was a really nice sofa. We didn't go cheap on it. But when you started taking it apart, you think, my God, some of this wood is a bit. How's your father? Um, some of it was, um, yeah, it looked like some of it looked like it was pallet wood. So, has it been a mild winter for you guys across it? It's been cold and windy. It is what I can really remember. Um, we had about a week of snow on the ground. Again, that wasn't too bad. A week to anything up to 10 days, something like that, which was 3 initial inches of snow. Now I'm in Hertfordshire, which is just north of London, and that 3 inches of snow just stayed there because it was so damn cold, and the wind made it feel like -5 to -10, something like that. But usually we've had some more, but it's February where we get the worst of it. It happens in November, and then we get a huge flump towards the end of February. So for any of those in the States who are thinking of coming over February, I wouldn't try and navigate away from February because there's usually some action. And as usual, anything more than a light dusting of snow, everything comes to a standstill because we're just not cut out for it. Um, an overnight flurry and it's melted the next day, yeah, we can handle that. But the rest of it, then we start to struggle. But who knows? So, in answer to your question, has it been a mild winter? Yes, it has. It's been predictable, but colder this year than I thought it was last year. Last year, there was a lot of 5 degree days, 5 degrees centigrade. This time, it's been more like 0, 0, 1, 2, and 3, with a few days where we've had -10 and another few -2 to -5. So yeah, cold enough. Oh, a lot of it is stapled together. Yes, Flymo. Yeah, it was. This is John, but coldest month is February. Yeah, you're right, Digger. And we've got that to come. That's not far away now. What are we, the 22nd? So we're in for our second massacre of snow. No, yeah, of course. All I'm reporting on is my tiny little bit of the UK. When you get to Scotland, they get it a lot more than we do. I don't know if it's due to the prevailing winds or whether they've just got obviously the Highlands, which are 4,000 feet high, and they do tend to cop it quite badly. Great for whatever um, sports that gives you, tobogganing, skiing, that kind of thing. 30 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, that's below freezing. And we look at sort of 0 degrees centigrade. Yeah, the cold train ain't bad. Scotland do get severe weather. Anyway, I'm gonna cut it short because it's not far off 10 minutes to go to dinner. So I'm going to say, guys, au revoir. Auf Wiedersehen. Auf Wiedersehen. Tschüss. And happy trains. And I'll catch up with the rest of you in Alan's stream, which will be tonight. Remind me when that is, please, Alan, if you're still in the chat. Nice to see you, Boilermaker Rick. Sayonara. Yeah, that's Japanese. So John, Mystic Railroad. Yeah. Enjoy the remainder of your day. Aha. Feel free to, yes, it's not copyrighted. And even if it is, 1976 rules, which is fair use, educational. Al at Brainton Junction, so long. Nice to see you, Chris. 9 p.m. tonight. So that's probably around 5 o'clock in the States, 5 or 6, no, 7 o'clock in the States. Ciao for now. Nice to see you, Timber Surf. Thank you for your company. Digger Evans, so long for now. 4 p.m. Eastern. Okay. Be there or be square. I'll see you guys. Take care. Great stream. Thanks for your company. Au revoir.